Hey, True Believers. Chris Mack coming at you with New Mutants 95. And the X-Tinction Agenda. I remember reading it kind of out of order. It's more on the X-Men side than the rest of these books, but as you go back and you look at these were great reads. Especially this one, it's heartbreaking and really starts to light the powder keg of this event. One thing about the X-Tinction Agenda is once we got here, a lot of things have happened. At this point, Storm is a child, which kind of goes back to how her and Gambit met, which I think was after Storm went through the Siege Perilous. I think it turned her into a child. If I'm wrong, let me know. But that was kind of the last we really heard of Storm and X-Men and whatnot. Now, what I do appreciate here is they kind of give you an idea and a recap of what Genosha is, because X-Men had previously visited this place, and some things have happened before this whole attack on this island. So let me kind of go through this so you guys kind of get an idea of what Genosha is. It says, this is Genosha, an island nation, lying just east of Africa. Once little more than a barren rock, lacking even the most elemental natural resources. It is now a prosperous jewel in the Indian Ocean, whose population has achieved prosperity due to the effects of a relatively few superhero beings. These are the mutates, bioengineered candidates whose minds are wiped clean of memory, even as their latent powers are encouraged and their wills turned to the good of the state. Nameless creatures whose numbers denote their place in an unnaturally ordered universe. It is from the Citadel, headquarters of Genoshan State Security, that the mutants who drive Genosha's economy springs. And the only thing a native Genoshan fears is that he might become one of the chosen to serve. And so we kind of get like this sort of sci-fi noir thing going on. We see what the mutates look like. And then we flip, and I think this is one of the first early 90s splash pages, because it's not, I don't know if maybe because the book's a little bit worn, but you can see the danger our heroes are in. This is Cameron Hodge. We went over him back in New Mutants. What was that book? The Death of Doug Ramsey. I can't remember what issue, but yeah, he has been a thorn in the side of the X-Men through X-Factor, through New Mutants. Just a real creep all along. And this is called Shell Game. This is Louise Simonson, writer, Rob Liefeld, art, Joe Rubinstein, ink, Joe Rosen, letterer, Bob Vancata, colorist, Bob Harris, editor, and Tom DeFalco, editor-in-chief. The print date on this was November 1990. So you come to find out that the mutants that have been taken captive is Rain, Richter, Boom Boom, and Storm. And yes, Hodge plans to turn them into his mutates. Oh, and of course, Rain's part of it. And this is kind of like the Terminator rules. When they get teleported, they lose their clothes, so they're just very vulnerable right now, and they don't know what to do because, face it, they're 4 against a whole nation. And Warlock got teleported along the way, but the teleportation really messed with his life force, so he is in a very bad way, which really works up Rain, because she's tired of her friends being hurt. So I don't want to give any more away of that. We go back then to the X-Mansion, and this is where the X-Men, for the time being, because the Xavier Institute is still destroyed, Charles Xavier is still not in the scene. Scott and Jean are part of X-Factor, and a lot of the X-Men are lost to the Siege Perilous. Like Peter doesn't have memory, Storm's a little girl, Wolverine, Jubilee, and Psylocke are in Madripoor. It was just kind of all over the place. So the X-Men at this point was like Forge, Banshee, the people with Moira and Taggart, and then of course we see Sunspot, and then Gambit's new to the team. And how new is he? Well, is why the rest of the team, like Cable, Banshee, everyone's worried about their friends. The only person the Gambit's worried about is Storm, because he sees her as a partner. What do I care for the others, whom I hardly know? It's the fate of a partner that matters, as your students concern you. So you just kind of wow, because Remy is like a complete 180 now. He is a household name. But here he's slowly making his appearances, because he showed up in Uncanny X-Men 266. And this is kind of where we move forward with Remy LeBeau. We go back then to Genosha. And I really like this drawing of Rain, just the anger and the more because she's grown since we've seen from the early Claremont McLeod days, and she's worried about Warlock, and she's saying that I will give you some of my life force to save you, and Warlock's trying to warn them of what's going to happen. Because once these suits are put on and grafted to their bodies, they no longer have their mutant powers. The next thing is to erase their memories and make them drones. And so there's a moment with Richter and Storm, even though they don't have their powers. I don't want to give that away. And then we see this young boy who's just turned 13, has his mutant powers, and he's about to become a mutate. He's talking to the engineer, who's the one that came up with all these evil machinations. He's like, but you'll shave my head. I'll have a number on my forehead. I'll be bound forever to a mutant suit. My friends, my family, they'll see. We'll do our best to assign you far from them. It's not our intention to cause them pain, though it's unlikely that they'll know you. Most people never look beyond the suit and number to see a mutant's face. Yeah, just the sheer coldness. And it really captures the evilness of what the human race can be. And so the rest of the book is just everyone trying to devise a plan of escape. You find out why Hodge wants Warlock. Then, of course, Boom Boom is bitter at Storm. And she's like, and I guess that's why you got us captured. So you can come after one of your precious lost X-Men, because at this point Havoc's been missing. And he's like, what do you mean? Who got you captured? He's like, it's shutting the hatch on half of our major firepower, including Cable. You really screwed up our chance for escape. You practically handed us to the bad guys tied up in ribbons. It was a gamble, a calculated risk. Gamble? Just what are you gambling on? So Boom Boom is very young still at this point, along with Richter and Rain. Even though Rain's been through the ring more than Boom Boom and Rick, Storm led the X-Men with no powers. She knows what she's doing. And before these suits were put on him, she tries to lead an attack, but because she's in this child form, she can't use her mutant powers to the best of her, like her adult ability. It takes everything out of her just to channel a lightning bolt. And so, yeah, I don't want to give a whole lot more away, guys. There's some great moments. Like, I love this moment with Richter and Rain. They are able to escape. And he's saying we need to split up. But Rain's concerned about Warlock, because Warlock does something that kind of allows for his friends to get out of their pins. He's like, you don't trust me, do you? You think the second your back is turned, I'll go back for Warlock. We've escaped, Rick. At least so far. Do you really think I'm daft enough to confront Hodge on my own? Yes, no. All right, you win. We split up here. And they share a passionate kiss, which is a really sweet moment. But the moment Rick's back's turned, I love Doug, but he never made me feel like this. So wonderful that it must be something, but must somehow be wrong, because that's her Catholic upbringing. And of course she wants to go back for Warlock. And the reason is she goes, he'll reach the outside and bring Cable, and I'll find Warlock and do what I can to keep him alive. Even if it's only to share the energy till we can both be rescued. And right here she says, again, I love Rick. I want to do as he wishes. But Doug was the last teammate who will sacrifice himself for me. Because if you remember the way Douglock, sorry, that's the way I know him now. But anyway, Doug Ramsey jumped in front of a bullet to save Rain. To save him from the unmen, or whatever those things were called. But right before her eyes again, this is why Rain to me is such a tragic character, but really gives her a lot of depth that she has to watch. Again, spoiler alert if you've not read this book. So with that said, if you haven't read this, go to your comic shop, pick it up, and come back. This is the death of Warlock. And she has to watch him die. All for the machinations of a selfless, evil individual. And it's heartbreaking, guys. But nonetheless, it's a great read. That's why The X-Tinction Agenda is one of those very pivotal, remembered events. I haven't read all the way through, so I'm trying to go back and see which ones I need. I may just eventually just read it in collected trade, but I just love reading the floppies and being able to share it with y'all. So, tragic and heartbreaking though this issue may be, it is absolutely phenomenal. Great artwork, great storytelling, great character development. So if you've enjoyed this book, as I just said a moment ago, please go support your local comic shop and pick up a copy. If you've enjoyed this review, we really would appreciate if you take a moment to hit like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you could possibly know. And if you wouldn't mind hitting that fancy little mutate bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys will get notified. And come to the channel, and we'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback down in the comments below, and just to chat, or on our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down below. So with all that said, I hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.